Distinguished delegates, as we are going to start shortly, please make your way to your seat for the next part of the session. Thank you.
Okay, now we have a list of speakers.
Good afternoon, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are moving forward with the afternoon sessions. Thank you very much for your joining with us again. We'll continue the country statements of efficiency and resilience, transport and logistic network and mobility for economic. So we have few more countries to be presented their statements. Let me invite distinguished delegates from Lao PRD, following by Azerbaijan, to take the floor. Delegates from Lao PDR.
Yep. Madam Chairs, Excellencies, fellow ministries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored and privileged to be here today at the 8th session of the Committee on Transport. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks and deepest appreciation to ESCAP for the kind welcome and generous hospitality extended to me and my delegation. In order to address major issues in transportation with regard to the efficient and resilient transport and logistic networks and mobility for economic growth, for our PDR to grow economically, it's crucial to have reliable and efficient transport networks. Since Lao PDR is a landlocked country facing unique challenges in ensuring seamless connectivity both within its borders and with neighboring countries to support the regional integration and meet the demands of the economic growth, transport infrastructure needs to be significantly enhanced. The key challenges we are facing are, firstly, infrastructure gaps. Lao PDR's transport infrastructure, including roads, railways, and dry ports, is underdeveloped compared to the regional standards. Many rural areas remain isolated with limited access to markets and public services. Secondly, high logistic costs in our country is relative, impacting the competitiveness of the local businesses. Inefficiencies in transport network significantly contribute to these elevated costs. And thirdly, connectivity issues, limited connectivity with regional and international markets hampers the trade and economic growth. Therefore, improving and enhancing cross-border transport links is essential for better integration with the global economy. To address the challenges, actions need to be taken, such as developing of infrastructure by investing in upgrading and expanding the transport infrastructure, considered prioritized projects that can enhance connectivity between major economic hubs and rural areas. For example, the development of the Lao-China Railway is a significant step towards improving regional connectivity. Promotion of multimodal transport by integrating the different modes of transport, such as road, railway, and waterways to create seamless logistic network can help optimize the movement of goods and reduce overall transport costs. digitalization by applying real-time tracking system, electronic documentation, and automated processes can significantly improve the efficiency and transparency in the management of logistics sector. Meanwhile, policy reforms to streamline regulations and reduce bureaucratic hurdles, such as simplifying customs procedures and improving regulatory frameworks, can facilitate smoother trade and transport operations. Capacity building to enhance the skill and capability of the professionals in management and operation of the transport and logistics sector is necessary. Distinguished participants, looking ahead to the next decade, LAPDR aims to develop a modern, efficient, and reliant transport and logistics network that supports sustainable economic growth. Achieving this vision will require concrete efforts from the government, private sectors, and international partners.
Distinguished delegates from Lao PDR, please kindly conclude your statements. We are behind of the time.
In conclusion, I would like to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate ESCAP for initiating this important meeting. I would like to once again to express our heartfelt gratitude to ESCAP for hosting this important meeting. This meeting will provide a platform for member states and ESCAP to cooperate, collaborate, share experiences and best practices in developing transportation in future. May I wish the meeting with every success, and thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Laos PDR. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Azerbaijan, followed by Bangladesh, to take the floor.
Distinguished Chair, esteemed delegates, Azerbaijan recognizes the critical role of efficient and resilient transport and logistics networks as drivers of economic growth and regional integration. We are fully committed to enhancing these networks to improve connectivity, boost trade, and strengthen economic resilience in alignment with our strategic development goals. To support these objectives, Azerbaijan has undertaken several key initiatives. The first initiative is expansion of the Middle Corridor. As a pivotal link between East and West, Azerbaijan has expanded the Trans-Caspian international transport route known as the Middle Corridor, which offers an efficient multimodal connection between Europe and Asia. By increasing capacity, enhancing infrastructure, and reducing transit times, we have strengthened our role in facilitating regional trade. The second initiative about railway infrastructure. The Middle Corridor already embraces green initiatives. Electrification of the railway tracks, electrification of the rolling stock, upgrade of signal and communication can be good examples of such initiatives taken in the recent past. The third, Baku International Sea Trade Port. Azerbaijan has developed the port of Baku into a major multimodal logistics hub. With state-of-the-art facilities and green technologies, it promotes environmental sustainable operations while bolstering regional resilience to supply chain disruptions. The fourth, digitalization of customs and border procedures. Azerbaijan has implemented a comprehensive digitalization initiative across its customs systems, incorporating single-window operations and real-time tracking. This has significantly enhanced efficiency and transparency, reducing bottlenecks and allowing for more resilient cross-border logistics. Looking ahead, Azerbaijan remains committed to enhancing its transport and logistics systems to promote regional economic growth. We believe that through strengthened collaboration and sustainable practices, we can foster resilient networks that benefit the entire Asia-Pacific region. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Azerbaijan. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Bangladesh take to the floor, followed by China.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished Chair, esteemed delegates, Bangladesh would like to thank ESCAP for its sustained efforts to advancing resilient, efficient, and sustainable transport system across Asia and the Pacific. With growing demands on both freight and passengers transport projected to double by 2050, it is imperative that we work collectively to address our region's transport and logistics challenges while supporting sustainable growth, inclusivity, and resilience. Bangladesh recognizes the vital role of land transport connectivity through the Asian Highway Network and Trans-Asian Railway Network, both of which are essential for regional economic cooperation and integration. In pursuance of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, BBIN Motor Vehicles Agreement, Bangladesh is working to streamline cross-border transit and reduce logistical bottlenecks. We continue to invest in road infrastructure, exemplified by our recent national highway upgrades aimed at alleviating congestion and improving efficiency. Furthermore, our landmark infrastructure projects such as Padda Multi-Purpose Bridge are transforming inter-regional connectivity, facilitating trade, promoting economic cohesion across South and Southeast Asia. In the area of maritime transport, with modernization of Chattogram Port and enhancement of other key maritime ports, Bangladesh is committed to supporting sustainable maritime connectivity in line with ESCAP's regional action program. We have made tangible progress in addressing port congestion, combating armed robbery at the ports, promoting eco-friendly maritime practices, and meeting the growing demand for resilient logistics. Bangladesh has made standing offers to landlocked neighboring territories of Nepal, Bhutan, and Northeast India to use our maritime ports for seamless connectivity and trade facilitation. We remain keen on operationalizing coastal shipping arrangements with our neighbors across the Bay of Bengal region. We would like to see further impetus for joint work being done on SAARC transport corridors, being supported by ESCAP and Asian Development Bank. Bangladesh is working on digital logistic solutions which are aligned with ESCAP's strategic initiatives to improve cross-border data sharing and multimodal transport system. By doing so, we aim to streamline customs processes, reduce freight delays, and support an interconnected regional transport network. We continue to steadily upgrade the infrastructure at our land ports and have had sound experience with operationalizing border huts for localized cross-border trade. In conclusion, Bangladesh looks forward to our regional neighbors and partners for continued collaboration, ensuring that our shared vision of resilient, inclusive, and efficient transport networks becomes a reality. I thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Bangladesh. Now I will invite distinguished delegates from China take to the floor, followed by Mongolia.
谢谢主席，大家下午好。中国政府高度重视建设高效、有韧性交通运输和物流网络，重点做了2大方面的工作。我们推进亚洲公路网的建设。那么，截至2023年底，中国已加入亚洲公路网的线路里程达到近3万公里。我们持续推进泛亚铁路网的建设，积极参与区域铁路互联互通的合作。2023年4月，我们开通了中老铁路跨境客运列车。今年以来，中欧班列也保持了迅速发展的势头。我们坚持推进国际陆港和多式联运走廊建设，制定了货运枢纽及集疏运体系等专项建设规划和配套政策。我们搭建与区域国家信息共享的数字化平台，优化多式联运运营模式。我们加强制度和规则的软联通，推动区域运输便利化。我们推进实施 关于沿亚洲公路网国际道路运输政府间协定上海合作组织成员国国际道路运输便利化协定。今年7月3号，在中国和哈萨克斯坦两国元首的见证下，我们成功举办了中欧跨里海直达快运的开通仪式。第二大方面，我们注重加强能力建设，持续关注特殊处境国家的需求。我们深化与区域机构合作交流，积极开展能力建设和培训项目。比如2024年6月，我们中国的港口国监督检察官赴瓦努阿图开展了这个专题的授课。今年9月，中国又举办了针对太平洋岛国的海事官的培训。总之，中国愿意加强同各方合作，共同推进亚洲公路网、泛亚铁路网、陆港建设，充分关注特殊处境国家的需求，以交通互联互通助力区域经济快速增长，实现亚太区域各国共同发展。谢谢。
Thank you, delegates from China. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Mongolia, followed by Russian federations. Take to the floor.
Madam Chairman, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to extend our warmest greetings to all of you for participating in the 8th session of the Committee of Transport of ESCAP. Over the past 2 years, we have experienced that the coordination of trade and transportation is one of the important issues that we need to focus on. As a part of our goals of facilitating transportation and improving border crossings, we have fully completed a 745-kilometer Western Road corridor as a part of AH4 of the Asian Highway Network in 2023. Regarding the progress in the road transport sector, we are pleased to inform you that the Intergovernmental Agreement on International Road Transport along Asian Highway Network, signed by Russia, Mongolia, and China, has been successfully implemented over the past 8 years. So we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the ESCAP for its great support in implementing this open agreement. Due to the implementation of this agreement, the Joint Committee has facilitated regular meetings to progress and ensure agreement fulfillment. The last joint meeting was held in August 2024 in China, and the parties agreed to officially start international road transport via the countries of Mongolia, the Russian Federation, and People's Republic of China through the routes AH3 and AH4. To strengthen its road transport relations with the other countries, Mongolia has just ratified 9 international treaties and agreements on road transport led by the United Nations, and is seeking opportunities to join others in the future. Moreover, Mongolia has signed the Intergovernmental Agreement on Road Transport with 22 countries. So as a result of the above-mentioned agreements, we have achieved to upscale its opportunities on transport. There are some issues to be addressed, especially the motor insurance card system. Therefore, we are kindly asking ESCAP support from the member states to support our country's initiative to create united international transport insurance system for the region, which will be similar to the green card system of UNESA. We organized the Mongolian Transport Week event last year in November 2023, which was a week-long activity dedicated to the transport development of Mongolia, its transport connectivity with the regional countries. So in coordination with this event, the International Transport Forum also organized second ITF Regional High-Level Dialogue for Asia in Ulaanbaatar. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to Ms. Armida Salcia Alice Jabana, Executive Secretary of the UN ESCAP, for participating in this high-level dialogue, and Dr. Wei Ming Ren, Director of the Transport Division, for visiting our country to participate in Transport Week of Mongolia. In person and jointly to organize national workshop on inclusive transport and innovation during this Transport Week in 2023 in Ulaanbaatar. We are pleased to inform that our ministry and Mongolian government is planning to organize Transport Week as a scheduled next year, 2024. So during Transport Weekend
Distinguished delegates, please conclude your
Okay.
statement.
We believe that the initiative will promote the acceleration of the transition to electric mobility in public transport to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the transport sector and support the implementation of NDC and Paris Agreement. So in connection with the initiative, the UN ESCAP is supporting us in formulating the national policy on EVs, conducting a study on electric mobility, and plans to organize national workshops on EVs at the end of November. So, ladies and gentlemen, as a landlocked country that finds itself in further enhanced connectivity to the regional transport networks, Mongolia is striving to contribute to the regional economic integration and realization of the ESCAP initiatives by putting forward a proposal for construction of the new roads and new connections of railway corridor directly connecting neighboring countries. So, one of the key challenges of the Mongolia that we face is investment for the large-scale transport corridor projects. So Mongolia will be closely cooperating with you in all aspects to develop international transport and logistics network, build its infrastructure, and create the condition for the seamless and safe transportation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, delegates from Mongolia. Now I would like to invite the distinguished delegates from Russian federations, followed by United States of America, to take the floor.
Уважаемая госпожа председатель, уважаемые коллеги, благодарю за предоставленное слово. В своем выступлении я хотела бы кратко представить ключевые направления работы Российской Федерации по созданию устойчивых и эффективных транспортно-логистических цепочек поставок в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе. Полная версия моего выступления будет передана в секретариат. Сейчас я расскажу кратко. Большое внимание в Российской Федерации уделяется развитию международных транспортных коридоров. К 2030 году мы рассчитываем увеличить объем перевозок по международным транспортным коридорам в 1,5 раза. Для этой цели мы сформировали национальный проект «Транспорт», который включает в себя мероприятия по развитию инфраструктуры морских терминалов и внутренних водных путей, железнодорожных подходов к ним и пунктов пропуска на границе. Продолжается модернизация Байкало-Амурской и Транссибирской железнодорожной магистрали. Мы рассчитываем к 2030 году увеличить мощности данных магистралей до 210 миллионов тонн. Ведется модернизация крупнейших морских портов Дальнего Востока, особенно таких, как Ванино и Советская гавань. Сегодня внимание грузоотправителей и грузоперевозчиков как нашей страны, так и других стран все больше привлекает Северный морской путь. Ключевое преимущество Северного морского пути – это сокращение времени в пути в 1,5 раза по сравнению с маршрутом через Суэцкий канал. Растущие мощности ледокольного флота России позволят планомерно увеличить транзитный грузопоток по Северному морскому пути. Российская Федерация ведет работу по созданию современных транспортно-логистических центров в ключевых транспортных узлах страны. Реализуется проект формирования сети транспортно-логистических центров. Важным направлением развития международного сотрудничества в сфере транспорта является развитие автомобильных дорог, входящих в международные маршруты и коридоры. Российская сторона продолжает работу по формированию автодорожной инфраструктуры международного транспортного маршрута Европа-Западный Китай. Большое значение для формирования эффективных транспортно-логистических цепочек поставок имеют инновационные решения. В Российской Федерации поставлена цель к 2030 году довести долю перевозочных документов в электронном виде до 90%, поездок с электронным подтверждением до 65%. Ведется разработка национальной цифровой транспортно-логистической платформы. Уважаемые коллеги, в 2022-2024 годах при финансовой и экспертной поддержке Российской Федерации были реализованы ряд проектов технического содействия по теме цифровых технологий. Один из проектов – это использование новых технологий цифровой трансформации в целях содействия развитию конкурентоспособных железнодорожных операций в Северной и Центральной Азии. В рамках этого проекта в Москве в мае этого года состоялся круглый стол, который был посвящен как раз теме цифровой трансформации железнодорожных перевозок в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе. По итогам мероприятия принята Московская декларация, которая включает в себя конкретные шаги, которые позволят перевести железнодорожные операции в цифровой вид. И тем самым будут способствовать созданию эффективной транспортной системы в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе. Спасибо за предоставленное слово.
Thank you, delegates from Russian Federation. Now I invite distinguished delegates from United States of America, followed by Uzbekistan, to take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the continued good work of this committee and the Secretariat, which the United States acknowledges, notes, and welcomes. As we all know, infrastructure and vehicle innovations such as connected and automated vehicles, or CAVs, come with many benefits, including improved mobility, and also offer the potential to increase safety within the transportation sector. CAVs can collect sensitive data, use sensors, interact with critical infrastructure, and can be controlled remotely. CAVs can also collect large amounts of sensitive data on their drivers and passengers, use cameras and sensors to record detailed information on their surroundings, interact directly with critical infrastructure, and can be remotely piloted or disabled. These and other evolving vehicle and infrastructure technologies offer the real promise of safety and efficiency. However, they also require high standards, because as we know, CAVs and other transport technology face threats, including cyber attacks, which can enable misuse and compromise vehicle security and user privacy. Cyber attacks on information and communications technology, positioning, navigation and timing technology, and operational technology systems in the transport sector could also have major impacts on freight and passenger movements, and could also result in cascading disruptions that have considerable impacts on national security, our economies, and development. Given these clear risks, the United States strongly encourages ESCAP's transport division within existing mandates and resources to place a greater emphasis on cybersecurity in its various workflows. As we know and have heard this today, this is an issue that cuts across all modes of transportation and impacts all ESCAP members and associate members. Modernization of transportation's critical infrastructure and integrating cybersecurity into the planning, design, construction, operation, and oversight of these systems is vital. We note the work of the Working Group on the Trans-Asian Railway Network and its proposed framework for rail cybersecurity, and look forward to hearing more about this effort. As well, we note the Secretariat's organization of an expert group meeting on rail cybersecurity in April of this year. While we welcome this effort, it appears these may be the only cybersecurity-related efforts undertaken by the Transport Division. Given ESCAP's focus on expanding digitization of transport within Asia and the Pacific, and the potential impact of cyber threats, we believe efforts on cybersecurity fit well within current mandates. We would encourage ESCAP to do more work to help member states address cyber vulnerabilities in all transportation systems, to help protect these vital systems, the information they contain, and the economic activity they help to facilitate. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from the USA. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Uzbekistan, followed by Turkey, to take the floor.
Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone to the 8th session of the ESCAP Transport Committee. I express my gratitude to the organizers for the warm welcome and high level of organization of today's event, the format of which is strategically important and positively affects the development of mutually beneficial interregional cooperation between our regions, and has a positive impact on the development of mutually beneficial interregional cooperation between our region. The government of the Republic of Uzbekistan is determined for active and productive joint work with ESCAP for the benefit and prosperity of our peoples. As you are aware, Uzbekistan, since the first years of its independence, has paid great attention to the creation of sustainable transport systems, inclusive and safe networks and all models of transport, as well as new transport links connecting the country and safe networks on all modes of transportation, as well as new transport communications linking the Republic with other states, regions, and continents. Over the last 5 years, significant work has been done on the development of the transportation system of Uzbekistan. These activities have been aimed at developing various modes of transport, improving infrastructure, and creating modern conditions for transportation. In 2023, the strategy Uzbekistan 2030 was approved, which defines the priority directions of the country's development. The strategy defines a number of tasks that will deepen Uzbekistan's integration into global logistics networks through the implementation of projects. Construction of new highways of the roads Tashkent-Samarkand and Tashkent-Fergana-Vali on the basis of public-private partnership. Construction of new high-speed railroads in the direction Tashkent-Samarkand, Samarkand-Bukhara, a fourfold increase in the number of flights, construction and repair of 56,000 kilometers of roads, transition to market principles in the formation of tariffs for passengers and cargo transportation services, the company's activities in the field of railroad and air transportation, as well as attracting private and foreign operators to the sphere. Dear participants, once again, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope that this event will provide you with an opportunity to launch new breakthrough initiatives to expand transport connectivity between Uzbekistan and ESCAP member countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, delegates from Uzbekistan. I invite the distinguished delegates of Turkey, followed by Fuji, to take the floor.
Madam Chair, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to represent the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure of Turkey at this important session of the ESCAP Committee of Transport. I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizers and to our hosts in Bangkok for providing us with the opportunity to come together today and discuss the future of transport and logistics in the Asia-Pacific region. We greatly value the role of this platform plays in advancing regional connectivity and shaping the future of sustainable transport and regional connectivity in the Asia-Pacific region. The theme of this session, which focused on developing efficient and resilient transport and logistic networks, relates deeply with Turkey's priorities and ongoing efforts in the transport sector. As a country strategically located at the crossroads of Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, we understand the critical role that robust mobility systems plays in driving economic growth and fostering regional connectivity. In recent years, Turkey has invested significantly in developing transport corridors and enhancing logistical capacity with a strong emphasis on multimodal solutions that integrate road, rail, air, and maritime networks. These investments have not only strengthened our national economy, but also contributed to the efficiency of regional and international trade routes. The Middle Corridor, a key initiative supported by Turkey, offers a strategic transit route linking Asia to Europe, demonstrating our commitment to fostering East-West connectivity. However, the events of past few years, from COVID-19 pandemic to the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, have highlighted the need for transport networks to be not only efficient, but also to be resilient. Resilience in transport means being prepared for disruptions while maintaining the flow of goods and services, ensuring supply chain continuity and safeguarding economic stability. Turkey is actively working on incorporating digitalization and innovative technologies to enhance the resilience and sustainability of its logistics and mobility sectors. In this regard, we believe that regional cooperation is vital. The challenges we face, such as climate change, economic uncertainties, and evolving global trade dynamics, are too large to tackle individually. Collaborative efforts through platforms like ESCAP will enable us to share best practices, foster innovation, and align our policies to build transport systems that are not only effective, but also capable of withstanding future shocks. Looking ahead, Turkey is committed to advancing policies that promote greener, safer, and more inclusive mobility solutions. Our visions align with the broader goals of sustainable development, and we look forward to strengthening our partnership with 7 thematic areas of regional action program in the ESCAP region. In conclusion, I am confident that the discussions during this session will yield meaningful outcomes and contribute to a more connected, resilient, and sustainable future for us all. I look forward to exchanging ideas and working together towards our shared objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Turkey. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Fiji, followed by Tajikistan, to take the floor.
Chair, Fiji recognizes the importance of developing efficient and resilient transport and logistics networks, which are fundamental drivers of economic growth. An adaptive and robust transport network is therefore essential to support our economy and withstand both external shocks and growing regional demands. Our initiatives in this area aim to enhance trade efficiency, improve logistics infrastructure, and bolster resilience against climate-related disruptions. First, as highlighted in my earlier intervention, Fiji is in the conceptual planning stages of developing a megaport, a transformative project that will position Fiji as a leading maritime hub in the Pacific sub-region. This megaport is expected to streamline logistics operations, reduce transportation costs, and increase our connectivity to major global shipping routes. To ensure the project's viability, a comprehensive feasibility study is essential to assess the technical, financial, and environmental aspects of the megaport. Fiji seeks the support of our good partners in the provision of funding assistance for this feasibility study, which will be critical in determining the optimal development approach and ensuring sustainable outcomes. Second, Fiji is committed to improving inter-island connectivity, ensuring that all communities, particularly those in remote areas, benefit from resilient transport networks. We are working on infrastructure upgrades and exploring partnerships to enhance our inter-island shipping services, providing reliable access for both people and goods. This initiative will strengthen Fiji's role as a central player in Pacific connectivity, fostering economic integration and regional stability. Through these initiatives, Fiji is advancing a strategic approach to develop efficient and resilient transport networks that underpin economic growth. We are committed to enhancing logistics capabilities, digitalizing transport systems, and reinforcing connectivity across our islands and the region. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, delegates from Fiji. Now, I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Tajikistan, followed by India, to take the floor.
Thank you very much, dear Chairman, participants. First of all, I would like to, on behalf of Minister of Transport of the Republic of Tajikistan, extend our thanks to the Secretariat of ESCAP for inviting today's meeting, which will allow us to discuss issues within the framework cooperation in the field of transport between our countries, as well as to consider issues of future cooperation. Also, allow me to express our appreciation to ESCAP for our ongoing productive cooperation between the Ministry of Transport of the Republic of Tajikistan and United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. This session will allow us to discuss issues of development of transport and logistics within, and emphasizes on the role of integration of the multimodal transportation system in ensuring international cooperation, the introduction of environmentally sustainable transport system, digitalization, opportunities and problems, stability and sustainable development between our countries, as well as consider issue of further cooperation. Intensifying cooperation in the transport sector at the regional and international level is an important component of global sustainable development. Considering high logistic costs and challenges, as well as existing infrastructure gaps, today we are actively working on effectively use of the multimodal corridor China, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, Turkey. We consider the use of this corridor to be effectively in terms of reducing distance and reducing the cost of transporting goods in the region to existing corridors, as well as achieving sustainable development goals. Therefore, using this opportunity, we kindly ask for assistance from the Transport Committee of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific and the countries participant in this corridor in implementing this initiative. As you are aware, the global transportation strategy and policy are consistently shifting to facilitate the implementation of UN Sustainable Development Goals with the aim of boosting the development of multimodal transportation corridors, creating new financial models for the development of transportation infrastructure, developing sustainable cities, ensuring comprehensive road safety, and implementing a sustainable climate change agenda. Through the past decade, Central Asia countries have exhibited a resolute effort in enhancing regional cooperation in the field of transportation and connectivity. The signing of the agreement on strengthening the connectivity of land transportation in Central Asia during the first consultative meeting of the heads of Central Asia states, which held in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, 15-16 September 2023, a testament to the determination of Central Asia countries for this cause. In conditions when transport and logistic routes linking countries of the region faces with challenges and disrupted and Restriction of Cargo Transportation Act
Distinguished
continues.
delegates, please conclude your statement.
Yes. Central Asia countries that do not have direct access to open seaport need to look for new opportunity and transport corridors. In this regards, also, we will inform you that from January 1st, 2025, the chairmanship in the CIS will pass to the Republic of Tajikistan. In this regards, the head of our state, His Excellency Emomali Rahman, in his speech at the meeting of the Council of Heads of State of the Commonwealth of Independent States, paid special attention to the presentation of the priorities of Tajikistan chairmanship in the Commonwealth, especially on sustainable transport connectivity of the region. In view of this above, I would like seek ESCAP support in the further promotion and realization of agreement on strengthening the connectivity of land transportation in Central Asia and developing a new draft of transport strategy for digitalization of main intermodal transport corridors of CIS region. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, delegates from Tajikistan. Now I invite distinguished delegates from India.
Thank you, Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, role of transport connectivity in empowering people and ensuring inclusiveness and equality is significant in the Asia-Pacific region. Investing in sustainable and resilient transport infrastructure also supports environmental goals and helps mitigate climate change. Government of India has taken several initiatives to improve efficiency and reduce cost of logistics sector. India has launched a National Logistic Policy 2022 focusing on key areas such as process reengineering, digitization, and multimodal transport. The policy aimed at logistic costs to be cut by half by 2030 by reducing the cost of logistics to 8% of GDP. Government of India has introduced a national master plan for multimodal connectivity called Prime Minister Gati Shakti, which is essentially a digital platform to bring ministries, including railways and roadways, together for integrated planning and coordinated implementation of infrastructure connectivity projects. The multimodal connectivity will provide integrated and seamless connectivity for movement of people, goods, and services from one mode of transport to another. It will also facilitate the last mile connectivity of infrastructure and reduce travel time for people. Economic zones like textile clusters, pharmaceutical clusters, defense corridors, electronic parks, industrial corridors, fishing clusters, agri zones are covered under the master plan to integrate connectivity. There are also dedicated plans to improve connectivity and convenience for commuters in hilly regions and urban areas by providing first and last mile connectivity to improve logistic efficiency in the country. To support the growth aspiration of becoming a developed country by 2047, a master plan has been developed for comprehensive development, focusing on the development of high-speed access controlled national highway network. This initiative seeks to connect 98% of India's population within 100 kilometers of high-speed corridors. National Electronic Toll Collection program has been implemented on pan-India basis to ensure seamless movement of traffic through free plaza, reducing waiting time and increase transportation efficiency and transparency in collection of user fee. Implementation of intelligent transport system and digitization of process have been key to India's transport development, as we have implemented RFID-enabled FASTags and are experimenting with automatic number plate recognition for free flow tolling. We have also developed advanced traffic management system for efficient traffic management along highways and expressways. India is actively pursuing its efforts for boost regional connectivity with countries in its neighborhood and in Asia Pacific. In this context, India has been working on highway projects connecting India to neighboring countries like India, Myanmar, Thailand, Trilateral Highway, and Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal Motor Vehicle Agreement Initiative to facilitate passengers, personal, and cargo vehicular traffic. Steps have been taken to establish rail links with neighboring countries, giving access to waterways.
Delegates from India,
and
kindly
ports
conclude your
to
statement.
landlocked countries develop, and improvement of border infrastructure that facilitate bilateral and regional trade. These initiatives aim to reduce costly and time-consuming transshipment of goods and border crossing, promote people-to-people connect, and creating great opportunity for economic exchange in key trade routes. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from India. Now I would like to open the floor for any country statements. Yes, delegates from Iran.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The enhancement of transit and transportation routes in the region was among Iran's priorities. The enhancement of connectivity through corridors leads to the enhancement of commerce and lasting economic growth for countries and societies along the corridors. Corridors are not merely a tool for transportation, but one for the expansion of trade and promotion of national, regional, and global economy. Out of 32 landlocked developing countries in the world, 8, namely Afghanistan, Armenia, Republic of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan, have bilateral and multilateral transit exchanges with Iran. The countries of transit in our region are facing infrastructure, financial, and technological challenges and should enjoy support from the international community. The Islamic Republic of Iran emphasizes the necessity of adapting a systemic approach toward lasting and effective corridor-related cooperation between the countries of transit and the landlocked ones. International community should mobilize the resources to assist landlocked developing states within the framework of an international mechanism for financing corridors. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, delegates from Iran. Any other country would like to present their statement? And if there is no more, now we would like to invite organization statement. First, I invite ITF to deliver their statement. Please be kind enough to have limited for the 3 minutes, not more than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Dear esteemed ESCAP Transport Committee delegates, colleagues, and guests. It is a privilege to address this committee on behalf of the International Transport Forum, ITF. The ITF is an intergovernmental organization and transport policy think tank that represents 69 member countries through their ministers of transport. The ITF has been actively developing a comprehensive framework that centers on 3 interconnected pillars: connectivity, sustainability, and resilience, to strengthen transport networks globally, including in the Asia-Pacific region, through leading the transport work streams of OECD's Sustainable Infrastructure Program in Asia, SIPA. So the 2 SIPA regional connectivity studies offers a set of deliverables, including methodology papers, stakeholder survey reports, modeling assessments, and comprehensive analytical reports. So the recent published 4 methodology papers, for instance, provided conceptual frameworks empirical insights, and analytical tools that guide Central and Southeast Asia policy decisions on connectivity enhancement. This framework is also highly flexible and adaptable to strengthen connectivity in other regions around the world too. I'd like to share a couple of preliminary findings. So first, resilience is not just about withstanding shocks, but also about building systems that can rapidly recover and adapt. The recent ITF report on transport systems resilience emphasizes that disruptions can have cascading effects on interconnected transport networks. Robust systems must be designed to mitigate these impacts through enhanced redundancy, flexible infrastructure, and strategic planning. Secondly, connectivity is the backbone of the economic growth. Without seamless connections across borders, trade suffers, and also the economies. Connectivity must be pursued through a combination of physical infrastructure development, customs reform, and regulatory harmonization, ensuring both hard and soft measures are applied. Public-private partnerships and multilateral cooperation are also key to overcome these challenges, especially when addressing gaps in infrastructure financing. Lastly, sustainability is no longer optional but imperative. Our study emphasizes the need for a life cycle approach to transport infrastructure and energy use. So the governments must commit to reducing emissions by promoting modal shift, enhancing energy efficiency, and accelerating the transition to cleaner fuels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, delegates from International Transport Forum. Now I invite World Association, delegates from World Association for Waterborne Transport Infrastructure to take the floor.
Distinguished Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity to share PNG's vision for advancing green inland waterway transport and sustainable navigation infrastructure. Founded in 1885, PNG has been at the forefront of sustainable waterborne transport. We bring together expertise from 43 qualifying members, 1,800 individual members, and over 500 cooperative partners globally, delivering expert guidance on cost-effective and eco-friendly waterway infrastructure solutions. Through our working groups, we address critical issues like decarbonization, efficiency, and adapting waterways to climate impacts. PNG's Inland Navigation Commission plays a key role here, with dedicated effort towards sustainable waterway management and climate adaptation. Working groups like WG203, which focus on sustainable inland waterways, and WG249, which addresses climate change impacts, deliver valuable resources to guide waterway managers worldwide. Today, we see an individual opportunity for partnership with ESCAP. ESCAP's mission to support development across Asia and Pacific aligns seamlessly with PNG's technical strengths. By integrating ESCAP into our Inland Navigation Commission and creating a permanent advisory role, we can ensure continuous collaborations and knowledge exchange. To formalize this, we propose signing a MOU, which will set the foundation for ongoing collaborations on green infrastructure projects and strengthen our shared commitment to sustainable development in inland waterway transport. Together, ESCAP and PIANC are poised to set a new standard for international collaborations in sustainable waterway infrastructure. Thank you, and we look forward to a bright future together.
Thank you, delegates from PIANC. Now I invite delegates from PIATA to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. On behalf of the International Federation of Freight Forwarder Association, I'm honored to address the UN ESCAP 8th session of the Committee on Transport. Today, efficient, resilient transport and logistic networks are essential not only for economic growth, but for the very adaptability of our interconnected economies. To achieve resilience, we must look towards collaborative frameworks that align industry and government, drive innovation, and advance digitalization. What does it mean to build a resilient supply chain? It starts with anticipation, identifying potential risk and implementing robust risk management strategies to mitigate these. Then preparation becomes essential, allowing stakeholders to adapt to external factors with agility and flexibility. And finally, responsiveness is key, having the capacity to respond swiftly to challenges in ways that ensure business continuity and minimize long-term impacts, achieving these demands as well as strong collaboration across all supply chain actors. In this context, freight forwarders play an indispensable role. Their expertise underpins the coordination and planning of the entire logistic process, from selecting optimal routes and transport modes to handling logistics like warehousing, customs clearance, distribution, and risk management. In times of disruption, their expertise is invaluable in helping to stabilize supply chains and manage unforeseen disruptions. Digitalization can bring pivotal tools to ensure efficient and resilient transport and logistic networks at the global level. In order to reap the benefits of digitalization all around the world, collaboration and interoperability rather than fragmentation are crucial. Through system harmonization, streamlining of processes from the shipper to customs and beyond, and the adaptation of innovative technologies, goods can be moved more efficiently to where they are needed most. This is crucial for economic prosperity in all regions worldwide. FIATA's work on the digital FIATA multimodal transport bill of lading is a key example of this and is an important tool to support the freight forwarding and logistic industry to optimize business operations through digitalization, through a multi-stakeholder approach to move goods across borders through different modes of transport. This initiative brings trust and simplification to cross-border shipments by ensuring secured and harmonized data exchange by trusted stakeholders across supply chain. This reduces delays, enhances efficiency, whilst ensuring agility and flexibility to weather disruptions through multimodal transport options. Crucial to building resilience is collaboration and trust. FIATA calls for sustained dialogue between governments, public and private sector, as well as industry organizations, particularly through regional and international platforms. Dialogue and consistent exchange is essential to develop regulatory frameworks that support transport digitization, reduce bottlenecks, and ensure sustainable growth regionally and globally. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from PIATA. Is there any other organization statement? I see no more requests from the floor. At this juncture, I would invite delegates to consider the comment on the proposed two draft decisions as contained in document ESCAP/CTR 8/3. The first decision read as follows. The Committee on the Transport, having noted the outcomes of the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States, and in the light of the preparations for the forthcoming 3rd United Nations Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries, call for strengthening regional actions to address the connectivity need of least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states in Asia and the Pacific. In these connections, the committee invite members of associate members to consider taking additional actions and identifying new cooperative modalities to facilitate the access of these countries to international markets, including measures recommended by participants in the regional dialogues on sustainable maritime connectivity in 2024 and encourage them to implement road transport facilitation agreements to support seamless connectivity for landlocked developing countries. Would any delegation wish to intervene specifically on the text proposed? A delegate from Fiji.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would appreciate if you can screen the text up for our
Can Secretariat
quick reference.
reflect the proposed
And
text?
let me thank you, Madam Chair, for the excellent drafting in terms of this draft decision. And we fully agree with the text, except that we would just like to make a minor addition. This is in regards to the importance of partnership, relevant partnership. On line 8, after the word members, may I insert the line, and with support of relevant partners, and the sentence continues. Line 8. And with support of relevant partners.
Can you please repeat it again?
Yes, and with support of relevant partners, and the sentence continues. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of PG, for your intervention. Any other proposed? I recognize the delegates of Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Позвольте привлечь внимание к формулировке, которая начинается со слов including. Вместо слова including мы предлагаем формулировку taking note of the. Taking note of the. Это первое. Второе. Фраза, которая звучит to implement road transport facilitation agreements. Мы предлагаем ее в этом месте вычеркнуть ее в этом месте и переместить в конец фразы. Мы ставим запятую и добавляем следующую фразу. Including through furthering road transport facilitation agreements. Road transport facilitation agreements. Спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian Federation, for your intervention. I recognize delegates from Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have in the third line on regional action, we suggest that to be replaced with collaboration, which is a more inclusive language. We also have questions on the cooperative modalities, what this is supposed to envision. Is this envisioning a creation of a new structure of some sort? And I'm cognizant that we're going into the conference structure related arguments. So I thought that was kind of unclear. So we would like some clarification from the Secretariat on what they mean by that. And I'll first listen to that before going further. Thank you.
So I would like to ask Secretariat to respond that question.
Thank you very much. By way of clarification, the cooperative modalities here mean the diverse firms under which transit and landlocked countries can cooperate, which as far as the wide practice in the region shows, can be the multilateral agreement, it can be an MOU, it can be all kinds of arrangements. So that's why the wide and broad framework or broad terminologies propose cooperative modalities rather than put in just agreements or MOUs and such. So there is no implication of any new platform or mechanism at ESCAP in the Secretariat. Thank you.
Delegates from Japan.
Thank you, Secretariat. I'd like to hear what other members think with regard to that in response to the explanation. But I mean, it just sounds like an open ticket, but at minimum, we would like in front of the word cooperative modalities to put the word voluntary in front of it, please. And with regard to, we thought that the decision could be more inclusive. I guess the Russian delegation just edited it, but it's sort of implied more for the facilitation agreement members, which is only a subset of the members of all of ESCAP. So maybe at the end of his insertion at the end of the paragraph, put comma as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Japan, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the delegations of Fiji.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the efforts by my good colleague Yoshiko from Japan in trying to further clarify the new cooperative modalities. My delegation is also having difficulty in understanding what those new cooperative modalities are, whether they are existing or new. Thank you, Secretary, for making that clarification, because the point is taken that we cannot accept anything that is related to conference structure as we are currently discussing right now. But even the word new is somewhat ambiguous at that particular juncture there. Maybe the voluntary resolves that, but it's still not clear in my mind what it really entails, so that the sentence can really flow. It's just a request for further clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Fiji. As I would like to invite Secretariat to clarify on it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, so the word new is there to signal the additional efforts and initiatives that would be needed. There could be new arrangements or modalities between landlocked countries and transit countries, or between small island development states and their trading partners. So the word new was there to convey the efforts. As we've heard today from the delegation, there are new initiatives that are happening as we speak. The most recent example is the agreement on Central Asian transport connectivity mentioned in the statement of distinguished delegate of Tajikistan. So other initiatives are on board, are ongoing, hence the use of the word new. And of course, the Secretariat will follow the guidance of member states, whether new or voluntary are complementary or sort of complement each other, and further clarify, or whether voluntary is to replace new. Thank you.
Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? Yes, I recognize the delegations of Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want, this is a procedural point that I would like to make. We are making these edits today, but I think a number of us would like consultations with Capital on the result of these edits. So the question as to is this okay or not, I just wanted to double check that, yes, we are looking at this text as it is, but I think we all need to take it home to Capital. So just wanted to make that especially clear. The second part of my question is more substantive. So this last sentence with all this cooperative modalities, et cetera, this is specifically related to just landlocked developing countries. Is that the case?
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Japan, for your intervention. So now I would like to invite Secretariat to clarify on that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is not restricted. It's to landlocked developing countries, because as we have heard from the results of the regional dialogue on sustainable maritime connectivity, there is a call from the small island development states for greater collaboration with the whole range of actors in other countries. So it can be interpreted as open also for for small island development states. But of course, the further enrolled transport facilitation agreements would only, in substance, apply to landlocked developing countries, given the the geographic limitation of small island developing states. Thank you.
I recognize the delegation of Japan.
Thank you to the Secretariat for the explanation. Then maybe to reflect that meaning, then maybe you need to support seamless connectivity, especially for landlocked development, or to support seamless connectivity for all, including, I mean, that would probably reflect what the Secretariat is saying. I'm just confused otherwise with the sentence that's being formulated. So seek your guidance and member states' views on this point. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Japan, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the distinguished delegates from the USA.
Thank you, Chair. Just for clarification, then, the final clause, second to last clause, does not just apply to landlocked developing countries. So it may be worth adding a word there for all including landlocked developing countries. To clarify that. Oh, look at that. It's right there. Thank you. Withdrawn.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from China for their intervention.
谢谢主席。本代表团看了一下前面很多代表团提出的这个修正的建议。我们对于其中有一个修正的建议，就是关于这个在合作模式，就是 cooperative modality 前面加上 voluntary，我们觉得似乎有点多余。而且呢，我觉得这个好像有点限制这种 cooperative modalities。我们不同意加上这个 voluntary。谢谢。
Thank you, distinguished delegates of China, for your intervention. Will delegates from Japan agree for that amendment?
We'd like to think a little bit more on this. We just wonder, it just has a structural implication embedded in this phrase, so I'd like to consult Capital. Thank you.
Except that wording voluntary is other tests are acceptable to the all delegations. If there is no any objections or the statements, can the Secretariat reflect the proposed changes to the test on the screen, clearly indicating deleting and the new test, please? As discussed, I encourage delegations to consult their capitals and come back to the proposal to the Secretariat. Thank you, distinguished delegates, for constructive cooperations. I now ask the Secretariat to include the text of these draft decisions in the draft report to be considered after we get the amendments by the pending statements proposal. Now we can proceed to the second draft decision, which read as follows. The Committee on Transport welcomes the continued effort of members and associate members toward enhancing infrastructure and operational connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, and takes note of the new amendments to the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Asia Highway Network and Trans-Asian Highway Network and dry ports, including the new annex to the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Trans-Asian Highway Network on general principle on electronic informations exchange among railways and between railways and control agencies. The committee notes with satisfaction the adoption of the Strategy 2030 on accelerating rail digital transformations in the Asia-Pacific region by the Working Group on the Trans-Asian Railway Network. Would any delegation wish to intervene specifically on the text proposed? I recognize the delegation from the USA.
Thank you, Chair. The U.S. Requests that we strike the two words "with satisfaction" and just leave this as plain notes. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of the USA, for your intervention. If there is no any amendment, I recognize delegates of Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Мы хотим предложить дополнительное предложение в конце текста решения, которое будет звучать следующим образом. The committee also requests Secretariat to pursue further collaborative efforts in order to facilitate regional and interregional transport, connectivity, and sustainability. После слова network должна быть поставлена точка. Это отдельное предложение. После слова network следует поставить точку. Да, спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian Federation, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize delegation of Japan.
So I think with the last insertion, we'd like to have the standard text that we've added in other decisions in other committees, which is at the end of the sentence, within existing mandate and resources. And this in a way is because we are mindful that there are these 3 agreements, but it's again only a subset of ESCAP member states who have acceded to these agreements. So we have to be very mindful about the demarcation of the resources required. Not all of us have acceded to it, which means that we are not bound by it. So we just wanted to make that point very clear. We were a little bit, to be honest, a little bit puzzled by the decision because it sounds like one from a council decision of those agreements. So yeah, so this is what we would like to ask to be added. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate from Japan, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the delegation of Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? If there is no any amendments, can the Secretariat reflect the proposed changes to the text on the screen, clearly indicating deleted and new text, please? Thank you, distinguished delegates, for constructive cooperation. I request the Secretariat to include these versions of the text of the 2 decisions in the draft report for considerations during the adoptions of the report. Thank you. Let us now turn to Agenda 3, Major Issues in Transport, Subteam, Environmentally Sustainable Transport System and Services. There are 2 documents issues in connections with this agenda item, namely ESCAP/CTR 8/4 and SCAP/CTR 8/5, addressing respectively smart transport and low carbon transport. I will invite first the Secretariat to present documents ESCAP/CTR 8/4 on the overview of the regional roadmap to transport regional corporations for the wider development of sustainable smart transport system in Asia and the Pacific. Secretariat, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So next slide, please. The Asia-Pacific region has witnessed rapid urbanization, with urban population projected to increase from 51.1% in 2020 to 66.2% by 2050. Vehicle ownership is also expected to rise to 1.6 billion by 2030, causing a significant increase in emissions and other adverse impacts, such as road traffic fatality and injuries. Smart transport system has been recognized by the Asia-Pacific member states of its role to increase the efficiency, safety, and effectiveness of transport system. In the Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific adopted in December 2021, the Asia-Pacific Transport Minister noted that continued progress in the area of automotive and smart transport systems could improve transport connectivity, traffic efficiency, user convenience, and road safety, including through progressive development of highly and fully automatic vehicles, smart mobility, and other technologies. Next slide, please. To overcome the challenges in the Asia and the Pacific the region faced in the lack of cohesive regional policy direction, and to fully leverage from the benefit of smart transport system, the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific 2022 to 2026 identified the development of a regional roadmap for smart transport system in Asia and the Pacific to support wider deployment of sustainable and resilient smart transport system as an activity and an indicator of achievement of the Regional Action Program. Next slide, please. Under this mandate, the Secretariat has built on our existing works on the smart transport and facilitate the development of the draft regional roadmap through various steps, including literature reviews, surveys, collection of country reports, presentations, as well as a series of consultative meetings and workshops. Through several years of closely working with the member countries, a regional meeting was held in July 2023, where more than 100 participants from 32 member states and 18 agencies, university, institute, and public sector joined to review the draft roadmap. The regional meeting adopted the regional roadmap and recommended that the roadmap be submitted to the committee at its 8th session for consideration and endorsement. Next slide, please. The regional roadmap identified 14 major issues hindering the development of smart transport system as listed in the document. Next slide, please. To respond to the challenges, 5 strategies and 12 policy plans have been identified in the regional roadmap. This strategy provides principles to guide national policy plan and develop local policy. Five critical strategy has been set out in the regional roadmap for making progress in the following areas: connectivity, integration, inclusiveness, affordability, and resiliency. Under each of the strategy, there are policy plans connected to it. For the first strategy, connectivity, the 2 policy plans include cooperation mechanism for smart transport system, foster a dialogue with our stakeholders to strengthen international cooperation. Strategy 2, integration, 2 policy plans include facilitate the integration with a view to achieve greater technical compatibility and interoperability, paying special attention to emerging technologies, and integrate road, maritime, and rail transport. The third strategy, inclusiveness, includes 3 policy plans: strengthen capacity building and training and awareness raising, deepen institutional and regulatory foundations, increase tailored policy support for vulnerable groups and marginalized communities. The fourth strategy, affordability. The plan includes facilitate a creative funding initiative through public-private partnership, scale up the analytical work, paying particular attention to the development of assessment tools. And the last strategy, resiliency. Make mobility services that are environmentally friendly and safe, ensure data security and the use of big data in transport. Be ready for an unexpected disruption. Next slide, please. So under this, the issue for consideration include the committee may wish to share, update, and selected highlight with regard to national, sub-regional, and regional activity on smart transport system. Okay, and provide further guidance to the Secretariat on the ongoing and planned activities in support of such system. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretariat. I will now ask the Secretariat to present the second document issued under Agenda Item 3B entitled Developments in low carbon mobility and logistics. With this symbol ESCAP /CTR 8/5.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the floor. The document that the Chair has just referenced to outlines that transport plays a key role in limiting global warming. In fact, every fourth ton of CO2 emitted worldwide comes from the transport sector. Transport emissions have grown just under 2% per year over the last 20 years, which marks the second fastest growth of any sector behind industry. This is not a surprise if we consider that to this day, more than 90% of the world's transport is still powered by fossil fuels. And the outlook is not encouraging for climate action. Without ambitious policy interventions, transport emissions in Asia will continue to grow by almost 50% in the next 30 years. So the sector is not on track to achieve its decarbonization objectives and to contribute to the implementation of the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda. Many governments have recognized the critical role of transport in their national decarbonization commitments. In fact, 38 of ESCAP member states have specified transport measures in their nationally determined contributions. There are some common themes in the transport measures, such as the promotion of public bus transport, alternative energy sources, electric mobility, and sustainable maritime transport connectivity, all topics aligned with the program of work of the ESCAP Secretariat, and we are actively providing support to our member states on these specific topics. So please allow me to share some highlights of our work. The Regional Action Programme for Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific, which has been mentioned during today's deliberations multiple times, includes a specific activity to establish a regional cooperation mechanism to promote low-carbon transport, including a shift to electric mobility. Under this mandate, ESCAP launched the Regional Cooperation Mechanism in 2022. It was followed by a series of sub-regional and regional consultations, as well as capacity-building workshops to promote regional dialogue and collaboration and bring multiple stakeholders together under this platform. Through these consultations, we identified 3 priority topics for further in-depth analysis and assistance, including the implementation of low-carbon transport targets and timelines, green transport corridors, and climate financing mechanisms. Key outcome from the activities of this mechanism is the finding that governments need to start prioritizing low-carbon transport systems that best fit their national context, and that significant effort is required to improve coordination between sectors such as transport and energy. Discussions with member states were also held on the feasibility of development of a regional action plan on low-carbon transport. Participants generally agreed that a regional action plan should include regional targets that are aligned with national goals, progress tracking tools, as well as mitigation and adaptation measures. One key ingredient of delivering on low-carbon transport is electric mobility. And so to focus on the importance of electric mobility for transport decarbonization, the Asia-Pacific Initiative on Electric Mobility has been launched in 2022. It has received positive response. Today, 20 member states and 4 organizations have joined the initiative. It provides a practical platform for knowledge exchange and regional cooperation among stakeholders along the entire electric vehicle ecosystem. Central to our activities are knowledge products, such as regional guidebooks, as well as national case studies, but also technical workshops and capacity building programs for member states, including support in the development of national electric vehicle policy frameworks. And we're now going one step further by supporting 4 member states in the implementation of pilot electric bus lines on the ground. Let us move from road-based transport to maritime connectivity, sustainable maritime connectivity. The support provided by the Secretariat to member states on this topic consists of awareness raising as well as the development of strategies for low carbon and net zero emission operations in the maritime sector, covering also digital transformation and connectivity. One way to facilitate this has been through regional dialogues on sustainable maritime connectivities that have been held annually since 2022, and these dialogues have been complemented by analytical studies and research published by the Secretariat. One published as recently as September this year, which you can see here on the screen, as well as multiple capacity building and technical assistance formats on autonomous shipping, inland waterways, and sustainable port development. I would like to share the outcomes of the most recent dialogue held in Fiji, which was already mentioned earlier today under agenda item 3A, where participants emphasized the importance of actively promoting sustainable shipping routes within the region as a driver and catalyst for decarbonization. You can see the recommendations which were adopted at the NADI event on the screen, and they cover areas related to monitoring progress, developing and sharing best practices, integrating the private sector into the process, and leveraging the power of digital technologies. I hope we've been able to give you a view of the diversity and reach of our work in the area of low carbon transport and logistics, and I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Secretariat. I would now like to invite delegations for general comments and interventions in relations to the topics under discussions. The first speaker on my list is Nepal. I invite the distinguished delegate of Nepal to take the floor, followed by Kazakhstan.
Respected Chairman, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, as Nepal is looking the floor for the first time, let me congratulate you and your team on the election as the chair and vice chair of the committee. Recently, Nepal withstood unprecedented rain and floods in the Kathmandu Valley and major parts of the Nepal. This has severely damaged the national transport network, urban roads and services, and no linkage from the other parts of Nepal to the capital city of Kathmandu from the road transport. The Department of Road of Nepal led efforts to reopening the major highway quickly with support from the other sectors. We are witnessing increasing the impacts of climate change on roads and transport infrastructure, and this calls the collaborative approach to plan, design, develop sustainable and resilient roads and transport system. Nepal will be happy to collaborate on this and receive support and guidance to emerging technology and practices in planning and developing road infrastructure, including urban public transport. We are in the process of upgrading the major parts of Eastern Highway to 4 lanes. Urban transportation in Nepal faces several significant challenges, particularly in major cities Kathmandu, Pokhara, and Lalitpur. These issues have been direct impact on the quality of the life, environmental sustainability, and economic progress. Some of the issues and challenges listed below: traffic congestion, poor public transportation, air pollution, lack of non-motorized transport, safety road concerns, parking issues, and poor urban planning, limited government investment and policy gaps, lack of integration of transport network, and environmental impact and lack of sustainability in initiative. Urban transport systems are heavily reliant on fossil fuels, contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. 5.5 million metric ton of CO2 equivalent of greenhouse gas emitted by transport sector in Nepal. Long history of Nepal electric mobility. Ropeway was established at 100 years ago, that is 1922, 40 kilometers Kathmandu to Hetauda for cargo purposes. At 1975, Tripura Surya 13 kilometer trolley bus powered by overhead electric was granted from the China, but unfortunately this system was closed at 2009. At 1995, battery operated 3-wheelers were introduced. Nepal has introduced 3,500 electric EMBs for public transport, affordable business models and financial mechanism, and allow the long-term shift to electric mobility in the country, especially the goal to have a 20% of 4-wheeler public vehicles sold in 2025 to the electric, with the share progressively growing 60% by 2030. Additionally, the plan aims to develop 200 kilometers of electric railway network by 2030. Electric vehicles adoption is still limited due to a lack of infrastructure such as charging stations. Sustainable transport initiatives like electric public transport or carpooling are on early stage, require the more government community support. UN is an initiation for e-mobility in Nepal. With regard to electric mobility, Nepal has promoted use of electric vehicle through the introduction of various tax initiatives. Nepal Electricity Authority is developing a network charging infrastructure. Saja electric bus is operating in Kathmandu city, and some private sectors are also operating buses and minibuses in long routes. Though there have been few studies and proposals for EV for policy framework, we have yet to adopt and finalize national EV policy. We thank to ESCAP for organizing an EV workshop in 2022. Expectation: Kathmandu needs sustainable and reliable mass transit.
Distinguished delegates, please
We have conducted several studies to
limit your conclusions.
Opposition so far as the metro, electric, BRT and ropeways, but these studies are still implemented. Another issue, lack of recent mode share data. We are still using 2004 analysis. ESCAP could help on conducting the transport household survey determine the user preference of the public transport modes, assess the share. Major cities in Nepal are working to improve urban transport system. Many institutions are involved in urban transportation, and Nepal would be happy to pilot ESCAP framework on developing the transport system. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Nepal. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Kazakhstan, followed by Republic of Korea. Take the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Transport is the second sector in the world in terms of carbon emissions after the energy sector. Among them, the share of inland transport is about 70%. To ensure decarbonization around the world, it's necessary to reduce emissions from transport and improve access to integrated systems, accelerate investments aimed at transforming the world's transport systems. Kazakhstan is taking the following measures to improve the environmental situation and decarbonization in the field of motor transport. First of all, since 2018, the Euro 5 environmental standard has been in effect, according to which vehicles below it are not registered in the Republic. From 2021, vehicles operating with an electric motor are exempt from the recycling fee. The third, the rates of the fee for the initial state registration of electric vehicles are set 2 times lower than for vehicles with fuel engines. In the last 5 years, about 200 million euros were allocated from the budget for preferential leasing of Kazakhstan-made buses. Most of all are electric or gas-based. Since 2021, the Environmental Code provides rights for the introduction of restrictions on the entry of vehicles based on their environmental characteristics into certain areas of the cities. In the field of air transport, Kazakhstan currently uses TS1 aviation fuel, which is widely used. And currently, the ministry is considering the issue of switching to a more environmentally friendly type of fuel used by European countries. To ensure the stable provision of high-quality aviation fuel for air transportation, the infrastructure of refueling complexes will be modernized, including the constructions of tanks, the arrangements of modern filtration points, and the equipping of laboratories with modern equipment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, delegates from Kazakhstan. Now I invite distinguished delegates from Republic of Korea, followed by Russian federations, to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Establishing efficient smart transportation system has become a strategic priority for national development, enabling us to enhance connectivity, optimize resource allocation, and improve overall quality of life. In this context, Korea established an organization in 2022 dedicated to overseeing smart mobility and developed a roadmap for mobility innovation. In 2023, Korea announced the Mobility Innovation Act to design systematic and comprehensive policy framework for the transportation sector. To foster public-private cooperation in advancing the mobility industry, Korea launched the Mobility Innovation Forum, where regulatory issues are addressed across various fields, including autonomous vehicles, urban air mobility, digital logistics, and integrated urban space development. Korea has been making significant efforts to share its policy and experience in support of ESCAP's Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Development 2022-2026. In 2023, research on policy development for the use of smart mobility technologies in the Pacific Small Island Developing States, Pacific cities, were conducted in collaboration between ESCAP and Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport of the Republic of Korea. Furthermore, Korea plans to initiate a new official development assistance ODA project for Pacific cities, focusing on comprehensive approach with relation to smart mobility. This includes establishing smart plans and enhancing human capacity and building ITS infrastructure. In collaboration with ESCAP, Korea is also developing a capacity building program on smart mobility for public officials and private sector experts from ASEAN member states, offering master's and doctoral degrees. Korea remains committed to supporting ESCAP and international cooperation initiatives by sharing our experience and proven ICT technologies to contribute to the sustainable growth in the transportation sector across the Asia-Pacific region. I'd like to ask for the continued interest and support of the ESCAP member states. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Republic of Korea. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Russian federations, followed by Thailand, to take the floor.
Спасибо за предоставленное слово. В России устойчивое развитие транспорта осуществляется на основе принципов энерго- и ресурсоэффективности. Для декарбонизации транспортного комплекса и повышения энергоэффективности грузоперевозок осуществляется оптимизация логистических процессов, переход на электронные транспортные накладные, переориентация на менее углеродоемкие виды транспорта, развитие газозаправочной и электрозарядной инфраструктуры. На региональном уровне вводятся льготы по транспортному налогу для владельцев транспортных средств, работающих на газомоторном топливе и электромобилей. Осуществляется системная мера поддержки регионов по развитию общественного транспорта. Это льготный лизинг через государственную транспортную лизинговую компанию с субсидированием до 60% стоимости транспорта. С 2025 года запускается новый национальный проект «Инфраструктура для жизни», который предусматривает амбициозную задачу. Планируется обновить не менее 85% общественного транспорта в соответствии со стандартами энергоэффективности. Уделяется внимание и популяризации использования электромобилей. Проводится эксперимент по бесплатному проезду электротранспорта для физических лиц, владельцев электромобилей по всем платным федеральным дорогам. Развивается водный низкоуглеродный транспорт. Построены впервые в России двухтопливные автомобильно-железнодорожные паромы с главной энергетической установкой, позволяющей работать как на низкосернистом дизельном топливе, так и на сжиженном природном газе. Хотелось бы сказать, что при финансовой и экспертной поддержке Российской Федерации с 22 по 24 год был реализован проект технического содействия повышения энергоэффективности отрасли грузоперевозок в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе. Спасибо.
Thank you, delegates from Russian Federations. I invite distinguished delegates from Thailand, followed by Indonesia, to take the floor.
Distinguished delegate, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to share Thailand's progress in advancing smart mobility and low carbon initiatives today in the meeting. Under the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific Framework, Thailand has developed strategy aligned with the framework to promote sustainable and low carbon transport. Thailand recognizes the essential role of smart mobility in urban and area development to enhance safety, efficiency, and eco-friendliness. Our ongoing effort for smart mobility include the employment of electric vehicle, intelligent transport system, and mobility as a service. To address issues such as traffic congestion, air pollution, and inclusive accessibility. Krungthep Aphivat Central Railway Station in Bangkok and its vicinity area could exemplify our work on smart mobility, and Central Railway Station will be developed. As Thailand's first 5G enabled railway station, in the Central Railway Station we have planned to use Operation Control Center, which is responsible for managing operation of the train, and to use automated navigation system, which is responsible for provide direction assistance to passenger. In the vicinity area of 580 acres, Thailand has a plan to set up a smart city, a smart mobility such as air smart transport management system and smart transit system, and plan for the whole area. Smart management system include traffic monitoring and control system, transport information management system, and automatic parking system, and smart mass transit system. Include personal rapid transit on sky deck network, car sharing and ride sharing management system. In line with our climate commitment under COP26, Thailand has set ambitious target for the achieving carbon neutrality by year 2050 and net zero emission by year 2065. Thailand naturally determined contribute action plan for the transport sector aim to reduce greenhouse gas and emission by 45 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by year 2030. To achieve
Distinguished delegates, please kindly conclude your statement.
To achieve the target, Thailand has implement initiative to enhance public transport, encourage EV adoption, and evaluate fuel standard. Complementary policy in the energy and industrial sector also help to reduce carbon dioxide emission and promote cleaner energy. Public awareness campaign also play a critical role to promoting eco-friendly behavior, embedding sustainable practice into daily life. Through this effort, Thailand strengthening its commitment to low carbon future, and we are aspire to become a regional leader in the sustainable transportation as well. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates of Thailand. Now I invite distinguished delegates from Indonesia, followed by Fiji, to take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, Indonesia remains committed to reducing greenhouse gas emission by 31.89% by 2030 independently, and up to 43.2% with international support. To support our nationally determined contribution NDCs, we have implemented carbon trading mechanism and carbon pricing provisions through a presidential regulation. The Ministry of Transportation has also issued a ministerial decree in 2023, which regulates mitigation actions related to energy efficiency and the use of new and renewable energy in all modes of transportation. We are now advancing low-carbon initiatives such as biodiesel, electric vehicles, and onshore power supply (OPS) in ports. In 2024, Indonesia has installed 52 onshore power supply units across 21 ports nationwide. Indonesia has been actively developing biodiesel as part of its decarbonization strategy in the energy and transport sector. Since 2023, Indonesia has been using a 35% biodiesel blend, B25, in transportation, including shipping. By 2026, it plans to increase this to a 40% blend, B40. Indonesia values ESCAP's efforts in promoting low-carbon transport and stands ready to collaborate with ESCAP and member states to reach our shared environmental goals. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Indonesia. Now I invite distinguished delegates from Fiji, followed by India, to take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Fiji is deeply committed to fostering environmentally sustainable transport systems to combat climate change and promote regional resilience. Our initiatives include the following. 1. Green Shipping Corridor. In line with the Clydebank Declaration, Fiji is finalizing the draft TOR for this feasibility study on Green Shipping Corridor to support low and zero emission maritime routes. This project reflects our commitment to reducing carbon emissions and sets a precedent for sustainable maritime practices in the Pacific sub-region. 2. Pacific Blue Shipping Partnership, PBSP. As co-chair of the PBSP, Fiji, in collaboration with the Republic of Marshall Islands, is spearheading efforts to transition to low-carbon shipping. This includes developing a multi-country funding proposal for the Green Climate Fund to secure investment for sustainable port infrastructure, alternative fuels, and green technology. 3, electric vehicles, EV, and solar charging infrastructure. Fiji, in collaboration with the Global Green Growth Institute, has submitted proposals to JEF8 for an EV pilot project and the development of solar-powered charging stations. These efforts align with Fiji's transport NDCs while also realizing the national energy policy goal of achieving 100% renewable energy by 2036 and further promote sustainability within the transport sector. Fourth and the last, feasibility study on the removal of derelict ships within Fiji's maritime. Madam Chair, Fiji would like to express its sincere gratitude to ESCAP for providing technical assistance for the feasibility study on the removal of derelict ships within our nation. This initiative is a significant step towards addressing the environmental challenges posed by abandoned vessels, which have long threatened our marine ecosystems and coastal communities. The removal of these derelict ships will help mitigate pollution, protect vital marine habitats, and contribute to the overall health and sustainability of our ocean resources. This support underscores the importance of collaborative efforts in promoting cleaner and safer maritime environments, which are crucial for the well-being of our people and future generations. Chair, these strategic actions demonstrate Fiji's proactive approach, and with the support of our good partners and the Secretariat in assisting us on our endeavor to build environmentally friendly transport systems that align with global sustainability goals. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, delegates from Fiji. Now I would like to invite delegates of India to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Government of India is advancing sustainable transport by promoting cleaner fuels and enforcing strict emission standards. This initiative is aimed to reduce vehicular pollution and stimulate economic growth through innovative technologies like electric mobility and green hydrogen. And strong regulatory frameworks are in place to promote transition to cleaner fuels and improve the performance and efficiency of vehicles by regulating and enforcing the emission standards, and also enabling adaptation of alternative fuels, blended fuels, and cleaner technologies. And Government of India has introduced vehicle scrapping policy to create an ecosystem for phasing out of unfit and polluting vehicles in an eco-friendly manner to achieve reduction in vehicular air pollution and boost availability of low-cost raw materials for steel, electronic, and automotive industry. To improve and encourage a clean fuel-based public transport, Government of India has taken steps to enhance electric vehicle mobility and bringing economies of scales for procurement of electric buses through demand aggregation. Standards have been formulated at par with global level to enable manufacturing and adaptation of EVs. The government has released standards for retrofitment or conversion of vehicles of various categories to enable vehicle owners to shift to EV technology with minimal cost. Besides, the Government of India has also released standards to promote the use of green hydrogen and ethanol as monofuel in transport sector. Further, the Indian Railways has taken the several initiatives to promote energy efficiency, which includes training programs to loco pilots to minimize the fuel consumption through optimized driving techniques and more energy efficient locomotive designs and usage of solar and wind power related to various railway activities are being implemented. And thank you, Chair.
Thank you, delegates of India. Is there any country statement? If any country wishes to, yes, I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Japan recognizes that climate change countermeasures are common key challenges faced by humanity. As stated in paragraph 1 of the conference documents, the transport sector in Asia accounts for much of Asia's greenhouse gas emissions, making connectivity and sustainable transportation system key for securing sustainable economic growth in the Asia-Pacific region. Japan realizes the importance placed on economic development in this region, and thus simultaneously realizing both decarbonization and economic growth aims are key priority for most countries in this region. As such, we realize that a realistic and pragmatic pathways for transition are important in this region, noting the reality that the technology path is still in evolution, and the life cycle environmental impacts of even the newer technology are still in question. It's very important to be mindful that achieving net zero transportation systems through pathways that are both diverse and pragmatic are of growing importance for this region. Japan will work to resolve the common regional challenges, including decarbonization, based on partnership and promotion of policy coordination, leveraging public-private partnerships. A pragmatic and realistic approach is particularly key for cars, where technology innovation continues at a breaking pace. It's very important to pursue a variety of technological options in a pragmatic manner, taking into account that relevant technology are still in the development stage and numerous challenges yet remain for each. Japan is promoting strategies that bring together the needs of each region with the development of next-generation batteries and motors, as well as hydrogen and synthetic fuels, with a view to realizing mass adoption of carbon-neutral vehicles. Japan is currently promoting initiatives aimed at achieving its targets of ensuring that electrified vehicle, that is to say, electric vehicle, fuel cell electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and hybrid electric vehicles make up 100% of all new vehicle sales in Japan. Japan hopes to continue to contribute to decarbonization, taking into account the new unique characteristics and challenges of each designated country in the Asia-Pacific region by its engagement with the formulation of standards, for example, the P29 and other initiatives. On rails, Japan recognizes that electrification of railways is vital also for the Asian-Pacific region. That electrification of Japan's railway is now exceeding 60% of the total network, and we are now working to decarbonize non-electrified section of network through the use of battery-powered trains and diesel hybrid trains. On decarbonization of shipping, we understand that discussions are underway concerning the formulation of midterm measures which will constitute the new rules for achieving the greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets as set out by IMO. Japan has been an active contributor to discussion of the midterm measures to pave way for concrete systematic options that marry technological tools for curbing GHG intensity of shipping fuel in a stepwise manner, with economic means including GHG pricing mechanism, as part of the amendment process for the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships. Japan recognizes that initiatives aimed at establishing green shipping corridors will contribute to achieving GHG emission reduction targets for international shipping and promoting the decarbonization of ports. In the domain of international shipping, Japan has committed to targets for the establishment of green shipping corridors. We are working on developing and promoting initiatives of the development and operation of zero-emission ships. The decarbonization of ports and other factors requires for the development of green shipping corridors, in cooperation with various project operators in Japan and other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates of Japan. Now I would like to invite distinguished delegates from Azerbaijan, followed by China, to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Azerbaijan is steadfast in its commitment to creating an environmental sustainable transport sector. we recognize that promoting greener practices in transport is essential to mitigating climate change, preserving our environment, and enhancing quality of life for our citizens. In pursuit of these goals, Azerbaijan has implemented key projects to reduce emissions and promote sustainable mobility, including introduction of electric buses. In Baku, we are deploying a fleet of electric buses to replace conventional vehicles, reducing both emissions and noise pollution in urban areas. This initiative aligns with our national goal of transitioning to low-emission public transportation. Secondly, electric charging infrastructure expansion. To support the transition to electric vehicles, Azerbaijan is rapidly establishing a network of charging stations in key urban and intercity locations. This infrastructure is designed to encourage both public and private adoption of electric vehicles, paving the way for a cleaner urban mobility landscape. Development of green corridors. Azerbaijan has introduced green corridors within our logistics and freight systems, prioritizing efficient, eco-friendly operations through optimized routes and reduced wait times at customs. Looking forward, Azerbaijan will continue integrating environmentally sustainable practices into its transport policies. We are committed to collaborating regionally to promote greener technologies and share best practices for a cleaner, more sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates from Azerbaijan. Now I invite distinguished delegates from China to take the floor, followed by Turkey.
谢谢主席。本代表团感谢秘书处制定的亚太可持续智能交通运输系统区域路线图。在智能交通系统方面，中国致力于推动大数据、互联网、人工智能、区块链等新技术与交通行业深度融合发展。我们扩展电子提单应用，建设智慧港口，培育发展道路货运领域新业态。我们实施高速公路联网不停车收费、电子出行支付系统。我们推广新能源智能网联汽车、城市智能化管理与服务。同时，我们全面提升基础设施数字化、生产运营管理的智慧化水平，促进交通运输与物流降本提质增效。在低碳运输和物流方面，根据中国政府的“十四五”规划，中国政府将绿色交通作为主要的发展目标。我们从制度体系、基础设施、运输装备等方面采取了一系列的措施。一是优化调整运输结构，推动大宗货物及集装箱中长途运输公转铁、公转水。二是鼓励引导交通运输企业应用节能低碳技术，倡导采用新能源、清洁能源和可再生能源，逐步扩大使用绿电、生物柴油、绿醇等。三是推广低碳交通运输工具，开展城市绿色货运配送示范工程。四是加强道路运输车辆燃料消耗量限值管理，强化汽车污染物排放治理。五是深化与区域国家、国际组织的务实合作，我们致力于构建绿色航运走廊，我们积极参与制定 IMO 框架下的航运减排中期措施。我们相信，秘书处制定的路线图将对推动各国发展智能可持续交通运输系统 起到积极作用。中方愿意与秘书处和各方密切合作，实施可持续智能交通运输系统区域路线图，推动亚太区域智能可持续交通运输系统发展。谢谢。
Thank you, delegates from China. Now, I invite distinguished delegates from Turkey to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With our country's ratification of the Paris Agreement and the commitment to achieve net zero emissions by 2053, we are actively pursuing sustainable transport approach. In our investment planning, we take guidance from the UN 2030 Agenda, Paris Agreement, and the goals of the EU Green Deal, and aim to provide innovative, sustainable, smart, and integrated mobility. In alignment with these guiding documents, we established an active transportation system through our National Transport and Logistic Master Plan. We are constructing new high-speed train lines and continuing the renovation of existing lines, and by 2053, we aim to expand the railway network length to 28,000 kilometers and increase the share of passenger transport from 0.96% to 6.2%, and the share of the freight transport from 5.5% to 23%, thereby significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We are establishing a seamless transportation infrastructure with undersea railway and road tunnel crossings, as well as bridges connecting the Asian and European continents. This approach not only enhances efficiency, but also promotes environmentally responsible operations by reducing GHG emissions. While investing in railways, we are also mindful of road investments. By equipping our country with divided highways, we have significantly reduced traffic congestion and prevented an increase in the GHG emissions. In addition to the other modes of transport, we have launched the Green Port project to address and, where possible, eliminate potential environmental issues arising from shipping and port operations. So far, 20 port facilities have qualified for certification for environmentally sensitive port character. Since maritime transport emits approximately 3% of global emissions annually, there has been a movement for the shipping sector, both decarbonize and improve air quality in Turkey. We also initiated reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from the maritime sector and support for green shipping project, which will guide the sector in the coming years. The project fuels at eligible port facilities, the installation of renewable energy systems, and the establishment of sustainable fuel stations. Our ministry also has partnered with World Bank to conduct a detailed study to focus on how to initiate action in Turkey on investments in decarbonizing maritime transport and ports. The project will be finalized in the mid-2025 and will ultimately be compiled into a roadmap for achieving net zero targets of our country. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates of Turkey. Is there any other wishes to do their statements? Any country statement? If there is no any other country statements, let me invite organization statements. The first speaker on my list, UNEP. I invite the distinguished delegates from UNEP to take the floor, followed by AITD.
Thank you, Chair. United Nations Environment Program recognizes that the transport sector is crucial for economic development in Asia and the Pacific, but rapid motorization and population growth are accelerating greenhouse gas emissions, worsening air quality, and increasing road safety risks. We want to recognize that a fundamental shift is needed in how mobility is planned, prioritized, and invested in. Moving away from traditional car-centric models toward sustainable, efficient, and equitable transportation solutions is essential. We recognize that only a combined approach using avoid, shift, improve strategies will achieve the emissions reductions needed to meet the targets of the Paris Agreement. This aligns with several UN Environment Assembly resolutions, including 4-3 on sustainable mobility, 5-11 on enhancing circular economy, 5-9 on resilient infrastructure, and 3 resolutions on air quality. UNEP's sustainable mobility work focuses on 4 key areas that align with regional priorities: active mobility, cleaner fuels and vehicles, electric mobility, and transport digitalization. On active mobility, UNEP supports countries and sub-regions to develop and help implement the policies, strategies, and action plans to upscale active mobility investment. On cleaner fuels and vehicles, noting the region's vehicle fleet is still reliant on the internal combustion engine, UNEP supports countries and sub-regions to adopt policies, strategies, and action plans, as well as other measures to promote cleaner, safer, and more efficient fuels and vehicles, including the standards on fuels and vehicle emissions, including the ones for used vehicles. On electric mobility, UNEP supports countries and sub-regions in adopting policies, strategies, business models, financing schemes, and other measures to transition to electric mobility. Simultaneously, UNEP is working globally and nationally to address the management of used electric vehicles, end-of-life electric vehicle batteries, and promote circularity. On transport digitalization, UNEP supports countries and sub-regions in adopting digitalization strategies, designing for multimodal transport integration, and addressing emerging transport issues in planning to accelerate emission reductions. UNEP is committed to collaborating with ESCAP and member states and partners to advance coordinated actions on sustainable mobility to tackle air pollution and climate change. At the recent 6th session at the United Nations Environment Assembly, member states highlighted the need for regional cooperation to improve air quality, critical objectives that align with this committee's mandate at the at Asia Pacific Regional Action Program on Air Pollution under the Environment and Development Committee. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, representative from UN Environment Program, United Nations Environment Program, for your statement. Now I would like to invite AITD to take the floor, followed by FITA.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We believe that determining and achieving an optimal intermodal mix can contribute immensely to the cause of development of low carbon mobility. This necessitates integration of economic, social, and environmental imperatives into development of transport networks and promoting rational modal choices. The first step in this process is to undertake empirical studies to assess social cost and traffic flows of different modes of transport. The next step is adoption of efficient pricing and charges with aim of promoting sustainability. This institution has been seriously engaged with both the systematic approaches, and the studies carried out by the institute indicate that modal shift can, in India, reduce the carbon dioxide emission to 4.3 gigatons, in addition to saving transport costs to the $120 million in transport cost. The institute would be pleased to share its knowledge base in furtherance of the measures that promote optimal intermodal mix and also promote sustainability in all its manifestation. Another important issue which can promote environmentally sustainable transport is the role of technology. Despite substantial public and private investment in infrastructure, challenges such as road safety, high logistic cost, and urban congestion persist, significantly impacting the economy of developing countries. The inefficiency rising out of these shortcomings cost the various economies to the extent of 5 to 7% of GDP. Intelligent transport system has successfully addressed similar challenges in other countries. In India, we are working to integrate initiatives like the PM Gati Shakti portal with advanced ITS solution. This integration aims to create an intelligent interface between citizen and transport system, maximizing the benefits of extensive transport infrastructure to serve a broader population. To achieve these objectives, it is crucial that the ITS solution ensure the following: interoperability of systems, development of skilled ITS workforce, establishment of legal and regulatory framework, addressing data security concerns, public awareness, robust mechanism for system auditing. These are the issues also mentioned in the document prepared by the Secretariat and also highlighted by some of the delegates who spoke before me. But what I like to emphasize that these requirements will necessitate capacity building and training of transport professionals. The institution will be pleased to organize training program in collaboration with the ESCAP in the field of ITS development. Notably, the institute has partnered with Indian Railways over the past 18 years to conduct training courses for transport professionals from South and South Asian countries. More than 800 senior level professionals have been benefited from 14 countries have been benefited from these training programs, with the program receiving widespread commendation from participating countries. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, representative from AITD. Now I invited a representative from PETA, followed by Slokat, to take the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Distinguished delegates. The creation of environmentally sustainable transport system in the Asia-Pacific region is a critical issue. As the region rapidly expands and urbanizes, its economic growth places immense demand on energy, underscoring the need for sustainable practices. Achieving sustainability in logistics is no longer optional, it is essential for both economic resilience and environmental protection, aligning with the commitments under the Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals. The need for sustainable solutions spans across all modes of transport. In maritime logistics, the adoption of alternative fuels and decarbonization policies like those under the IMO are central to reduction emissions. On land, we are witnessing significant steps with the integration of new vehicle technologies and alternative fuels in road freight, while rail freight plays an increasingly crucial role in reducing congestion and emissions on the corridors linking Asia megacities. FIATA is fully committed to supporting the transition toward greener supply chains by empowering freight forwarding with innovative digital tools and multimodal solutions. One of our flagship tools is the electronic FIATA bill of lading, which contributes to both environmental and operational efficiency. By reducing paper usage and enabling secure digital transactions, it aligns with our mission to reduce carbon footprints across logistics networks. At the recent FIATA World Congress in Panama, we launched a sustainable strategy to help the logistic industry meet growing decarbonization demands. This strategy focuses on three main pillars: CO2 emissions reporting, legal monitoring, and leveraging partnerships. By developing a standardized reporting framework, FIATA aims to enable freight forwarders, especially small and medium companies, to meet regulatory requirements while addressing their customers' increasing sustainability demands. For the Asia-Pacific region, capacity building is crucial to achieving these goals. FIATA partnership with key organizations enhance our ability to provide specialized training and essential tools. Recently, FIATA signed a memorandum of understanding with the Smart Freight Center, a leading non-profit focused on reducing greenhouse gas emission in freight. Together, we are rolling out vocational training aligned with the globally recognized GLEC framework that empowers freight forwarders measure and reduce emission across their operations. Additionally, FIATA's long-standing relationship with the World Bank has expanded into a new impactful initiative. With World Bank support, we are developing a sustainable logistic regulation dashboard informed by our members across diverse regions. This dashboard, which aligns with the OECD's Service Trade Restrictiveness Index initiative, will enable governments and logistic providers to navigate environmental regulation effectively, fostering low-emission freight transport across Asia-Pacific. By providing transparent, comprehensive insight, this tool will help the logistic industry respond to both regulatory and operational challenges. In closing, I encourage all stakeholders here to engage with local associations, access FIATA resources, and participate in collaborative efforts that drive our shared sustainability goals. Through commitment, knowledge sharing, and innovation, we can pave the way for a sustainable future for the logistics sector. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, distinguished representative from FITA. Now I invite distinguished representative from SLOCAT to take the floor.
Madam Chair, distinguished delegates, thank you for the invitation to address the committee on behalf of SLOCAT Partnership. Representing a global partnership of over 100 organizations, at SLOCAT we champion sustainable low-carbon transport as the lifeblood and prosperity of livelihoods. ESCAP and its member states are making critical strides in enhancing transport connectivity across land, maritime, and multimodal networks. The recent disruptions from climate impacts and supply chain volatility have shown that resilient infrastructure is not a luxury, but a necessity. Beyond the huge financial losses in transport assets, the negative impacts of transport disruptions on a country's connectivity and development are even bigger. A resilient transport network allows countries to bounce back from both sudden disruptions and slow onset climate effects, safeguarding access to goods, markets, and services that underpin economic resilience. Regional cooperation in Asia and the Pacific is essential for accelerating the transition to clean and sustainable transport, enabling economic resilience, equity, and competitiveness, while also advancing efforts to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. By working together, governments, businesses, and multilateral entities can elevate ambition, mobilize financing, and implement transformative solutions at scale across the region. 2025 is a pivotal year for fostering international and regional cooperation to support knowledge-based policymaking, strengthen capacity, mobilize public and private investments, and build multi-stakeholder partnerships to transform transport in the Asia-Pacific region toward decarbonization and sustainability. Countries are expected to communicate their next NDCs in 2025, providing the Asia-Pacific countries a major policymaking opportunity for 1. Connecting climate action and policies for transport to the broader economic development, equitable prosperity, and resilience goals of the country and the national policies that develop them. 2. Tracing ambitious yet achievable national pathways for transport emissions mitigation by setting specific targets, timelines, and actions across short, medium, and long term for all freight and passenger transport modes and subsectors. 3. Prioritizing the expansion and improvement of public transport systems, as well as walking and cycling infrastructure. And 4. Accelerating the phase-out of internal combustion engines and the uptake of electrified rail and vehicles across light, medium, and heavy-duty segments. These are just 4 of the several recommendations that SLOCAT, ESCAP, the Asian Development Bank, and Asian Transport Outlook have put together in the policy brief, State of Play of Transport Targets and NDCs and Beyond in the Asia-Pacific, that will be released this week on the occasion of this event. This upcoming period is crucial as it aligns with the start of the UN Decade for Sustainable Transport, which has the potential to boost momentum, action, and coherence of efforts driving closer multi-stakeholder collaboration across the UN system, countries, and other stakeholders to advance sustainable low-carbon transport and the implementation of the SDGs. As we navigate this journey towards sustainable transport in Asia and the Pacific, SLOCAT remains committed to working alongside ESCAP and member states to realize a future where transport systems are resilient, inclusive, and environmentally sustainable. This decade is a critical window for action, and we stand ready to support this committee and its partners in seizing this opportunity. empower, engage, and transform. And these are the actions that we must champion to achieve a transport system that serves people, planet, and prosperity. Thank you so much for your attention, and we look forward to the proceedings of the rest of the session.
Thank you, representative from Sloket. Now, any other statement? I see no more request for the floor. At this juncture, I would invite delegates to consider the comments on the proposed draft decision on contained in document ESCAP/CTR 8/4, which read as follows. The Committee on Transport organized the key elements of the regional roadmap to support regional cooperation for the wider developments of sustainable smart transport system in Asia and the Pacific as a voluntary framework to support member states' efforts to deploy smart transport systems and encourage interested member states to work closely with the Secretariat to develop and implement their smart transport policy plans and strategies. Would any delegates wish to intervene specifically on the test proposed? I recognize the delegates of Fiji.
Thank you, Chair. Let me thank you for this draft decision, and again, my intervention is in line with the earlier interventions in regards to the importance of the support of partnerships. So I may, Madam Chair, if you can, okay, it's up there. On line 5, after the word member states, insert the word "and with support of relevant partners." And the sentence continues on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Fiji. Yes, I recognize the delegations of Russian Federation.
Благодарю вас, госпожа председатель. Первая строчка решения. Слово recognize вычеркнуть. Вместо этого слова включить takes note of. Далее слова as a voluntary framework to support вычеркнуть. Далее добавить слово which. Далее добавить слово which. После слов member states добавить следующие слова. May wish to use on a voluntary basis as a support framework Далее слово efforts вычеркнуть. Далее вычеркнуть слово encourages. После этого добавить слова requests the Secretariat to assist Далее вычеркнуть слова to work closely with the Secretariat to develop and implement. To develop and implement. Далее добавить слова in the development and implementation of. And implementation of. На этом я пока остановлюсь. Хотя должен признаться, что в этом контексте введенные моим дорогим другом из делегации Фиджи не совсем удачно вписывается ввиду различного толкования того, что понимается под словом партнера. Четвертая строчка снизу, союз and следует вычеркнуть. Спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian federations, for your interventions. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the delegates of USA.
Just a quick request to have a couple minutes to look through the changes that have been proposed. Thank you.
Yes, please. I recognize the delegates of the USA.
Thank you, Chair. Just some minor changes to this. We would propose that after the request of the Secretariat, so it would read, request the Secretariat within its existing mandate and resources to assist, et cetera, et cetera. And then we might request to add to the end just 2 words, or a comma, and then as necessary at the very end, after strategies. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of the USA, for your intervention. I recognize the delegations of Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I support that prior intervention by the United States. And on top of that, we would like to request the insertion after member states. Hang on. And request the Secretariat within existing mandates and resources, and upon request. Or is it redundant because it's interested? Is it? So the point here is that only on the basis of a request received by member state to do it, instead of like a one-size-fits-all type action. That's the, I'll leave it to you to do the cleaning, the editing.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Japan, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the delegations of the USA.
Thank you, Chair. Just one minor, to move Japan's insertion there down a line, and so that it reads, to assist interested member states upon their request. Yeah, that's what you want? Okay. And I think request should be singular there.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of the USA, for your interventions. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the delegations of Russian Federations.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Мне бы не хотелось вступать в дискуссию по вопросу вот этого дополнительной фразы, которая звучит with support of relevant partners. Она выбивается из данного контекста. При всем понимании того, что изначально мой дорогой друг из делегации Фиджи хотел сказать, но в логике нынешней формулировки она кажется излишней. Мы бы не хотели возражать против этой фразы. Если ее оставлять, то, несомненно, здесь потребуется после запятой фраза as appropriate. Спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian Federation, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? I recognize the delegation of the USA.
Thank you, Chair. I just might ask that the Secretary clean it so then we can read it in a more reasonable fashion.
Can the Secretariat reflect the proposed changes to the text on screen, clearly indicating deleted and the new text, please? Yes, now we have clear text. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegations? Yeah. I recognize the delegations of Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's one wording that was added in the edit that we are struggling with. The word framework, we prefer not using that word. I can just even imagine the feedback I'd get from Capital. Just wondering whether we really need that at all, just to stop it as on a voluntary basis to deploy smart transport systems, just to be simple. So just delete from base as a support framework.
Thank you, delegates from Japan. And now I recognize the delegation of Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Первое. чистота в тексте – это всегда прекрасно. Второе. Что касается только что сделанного предложения Японии, то с нашей стороны возражений не будет. Единственная причина, почему в нашем тексте была данная фраза, это потому что мы постарались максимально уважить изначальную формулировку, содержащуюся в документе секретариата. И последнее. Третья строчка снизу. Okay. Третья строчка снизу. Союз and второй раз, очевидно, излишне употреблен. Yeah, the second and actually is redundant. И, конечно, там нужна запятая as appropriate. С обеих сторон запятые. Спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian Federation, for your intervention. Now I recognize the delegation of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, it's totally one sentence. So what we believe that there are some redundancy also. It is also implied that those member states who need support, they will approach somehow and then the supports will be given. So to us, as necessary, as appropriate, upon the request, upon their request, seems same thing coming again and again. So it is better at least we delete one as necessary and as appropriate. Whatever we would like to do it, but I think it's totally redundant. The same issues coming again and again as appropriate, last as necessary, and again upon their request. So I'd like to request to rethink these phrases by the member states who proposed. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates, we will not have no interpretations facilities within another 3 minutes time. So I think maybe we can invite Russian federations to intervene. Will be the last interventions for today's session.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Очень коротко. Оба уточнения as appropriate и as necessary, они относятся к различным контекстам данной фразы и связаны с различными отдельными аспектами, имеющими процедурное, юридическое и бюджетное значение. Мы понимаем значение введенного определения as necessary и понимаем, почему оно здесь введено, и согласны с этим. Ровно таким же образом считаем абсолютно необходимым использование определения as appropriate в том месте, где оно стоит. И мы не сможем согласиться на их вычеркивание. Спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian Federation, for your intervention. Is the proposed text as amended acceptable to all delegates? Yeah. If there is no any other suggestions, proposals, we may conclude. Thank you, distinguished delegates, for your constructive cooperations. I request the Secretariat to include these versions of the test. Yes, I recognize the delegations of Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Вы начали вашу фразу с одного и закончили совершенно другим. Нам непонятно, мы принимаем это предложение или нет. В вашем заключении этого не прозвучало. Спасибо.
Thank you. Thank you, distinguished delegates of Russian Federation, for your interventions. Thank you, distinguished delegates, for constructive cooperations. I request Secretariat to include these versions of the test in the draft report for considerations during the adoptions of the report. Thank you. Distinguished delegates, this concludes our discussions for today. It has been a long day, and I wish to express my sincere thanks to all the delegations for their active participations in the deliberations. Due to other important arrangements, I am unable to conduct the rest of the sessions, and I call on the other member of the Bureau, the Vice Chair, HE Mr. Fayaz Mushrad Qazi, to take over as acting chair and conduct the rest of the session. Finally, I am very pleased to inform you that from 17 hours onward, the Ministry of Transport of Royal Thai Government will host a receptions in honor of the delegations attending the committee. I wish you all a restful evening and a good night rest. We shall convene tomorrow morning at 9 hours sharp in this same room. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
By the Royal Thai Ministry of Transport. Thank you very much.